So good evening, everyone. Welcome to our annual Parent Empowerment Dinner. I'm Ruben Reyes, and I'm the superintendent here in the Robles School District, and I'm very pleased to see so many of you here tonight. We have these dinners as a chance to connect our families and our staff at our schools. We know the relationship between our families and our staff are very important. Making that connection between our families and our schools is a really important aspect of the work that we do here in the Robles School District. I would just like to take a minute to introduce some important people. First of all, let's give a hand to all the parents who are here tonight. Thank you for coming. We also have a number of staff members here tonight. If you're a member of the Robles School District, staff, teachers, administrators, classified staff, if you would just stand up for a second, let's give them a hand. And then I would like to introduce Robles School Board members. We have Ken Barnes here tonight. Mr. Barnes. And Nuvia Cardona is with us tonight. And then our school board president, Mr. Dennis Boyd. So part of our job with the Parent Empowerment Dinners, what we're trying to accomplish is very much around the idea that we understand that parents play a really important role in the education of their children. We work very hard in the Robles School District to educate them, but we do need your help, and that's kind of why we have these events. So we have found our partners. We're very excited for our guest speaker tonight, Deborah Ortiz. But before we hear from Deborah, we would like to introduce Mr. Darryl Roberts, who is a longtime friend and collaborator with the Robles School District. He and his center, the Roberts Family Development Center, and Darryl's going to say a few words of welcome as well.
Thank you, Superintendent. Good evening. Buenos dias. No, buenos tardes. Please excuse me. We are very happy that you're here tonight. Over the last few years, we've had speakers to talk to you, in some cases to entertain you. Tonight, our speaker is someone who I'm familiar with, very familiar with. I think more than 30 years ago, we met in Oak Park. Yes, we're still youngsters. Senator Ortiz, in her role as senator, led some of the most important legislative victories for our community. As the head of a community-based organization in this town, which has been on the forefront of serving our Latino families, it's important to me that she be invited. And I was very happy that the superintendent said, I want to invite Debbie out. And I'll make you laugh. He said, Debbie Ortiz. And I was like, Debbie Ortiz? Oh, wait a minute. Deborah Ortiz, the senator. But I'm going to stop right here because we have a very special introduction that'll impress you. One of our children from Robla Elementary School, Ms. LaShanya, would you come up? LaShanya Brazil, who runs our after-school program. Would you introduce him?
And we're going to correct that. It's not children, it's scholar. So I'm going to introduce Nathan Vasquez, who's going to come up, and he's going to do a magnificent job of introducing Miss Deborah Ortiz. Come on, Nate. You got this? You don't need me to stand next to you? I got this.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out to this wonderful event. My name is Nathan Vasquez. I'm from Robla Elementary School, and I'm in the 6th grade in Ms. Lopez's class. Today, I'll be introducing our wonderful guest speaker, Deborah Ortiz, for the Mexican Heritage Dinner. Deborah Ortiz is the Chief Executive Officer of Opening Doors. It is a non-profit organization that serves immigrants and fugitives. Opening Doors defends immigrants from deportation, providing DACA or DACA reviews or naturalization services. Deborah oversees the $2.5 million organization that offers Spanish language literacy classes to immigrants to build financial assets, save money, reduce debt, establish credit, and run a business. Deborah is a lifelong Sacramento native. She grew up in Oak Park, and she attended the University of Davis, and graduated from McGeorge School of Law. Since 2010, Ortiz has served as an elected trustee as past president of the Los Rios Community College District Board. Deborah received the prestigious Untitled Award from the Mexican government in 1999 for being the only Mexican-American woman elected to the Sacramento City Council and only woman elected to the 9th Assembly District and 6th Senate District. Deborah Ortiz is grateful for all the sacrifices her family has made. It enabled her to become a state senator.
Thank you so much. Let's give him a big round of applause. I think we see our next state senator here with us tonight. I am going to walk up here because I have to read and do a timer. I'm going to time myself so I don't bore you all. And I was told by Ruben that I have to stick to 15 minutes. And if you all want to ask questions after that, I am good with that as well. If I can read it. Yeah. Buenas noches y gracias por invitarme a hablar con la gente aquí, los padres. Thank you all for inviting me to speak to you all tonight. I'm honored. Every time I have an opportunity to talk to parents, I think of the people that affected my life and helped me overcome the odds. So I'm always inspired to be able to talk to parents. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, and then I'm going to tell you about my organization. And when I tell you about what we do in our organization, I want to let you know we have flyers in the back for all of our services. We have immigration legal services. We have programs to help with English language development, or ESL. A number of programs. We have a program that helps families who are undocumented. Hay gente que no tienen papeles o sin. Tenemos un programa que asistir, ayudar gente que son labor trafficking victims, trata laboral, y podemos ayudar a ustedes si usted quiere este programa. Bueno, I want to tell you about my story because it's not unlike your story or your children's stories. I was born and raised in Sacramento. I was the only daughter. I had 4 brothers. My father's family was from Los Altos de Jalisco, right? Mr. Figueroa? Many of the families came to Sacramento in the 30s, and my grandparents came. They were hardworking. They had 12 children. They worked in the fields. My grandfather was a farm labor contractor. And they made sacrifices so that their children could work in the canneries and get out of the hot fields. And so their grandchildren could become state workers or state senators. And I think that's important to understand that, because statistically, my family and many of my cousins of that first generation didn't necessarily make it out of high school, and very few made it into college or into law school. But I was fortunate. I was the only daughter. I had 4 brothers. My mother eventually became a single mother, and she made it very clear that I was going to have an education. She didn't know how. She had only completed the 9th grade herself, but she knew that I was going to go to college. I didn't know how I got into college. I didn't know the difference between community college, UC Davis, or CSU Sacramento, but I had someone help me. And this is what the school is here to help you and your family every step of the way, to answer those questions about what your children need to do well at Robles schools. But also, as you go through the process, there's always going to be someone there to assist you. So when people ask, you've had this career, you were an elected official on city council, in the state assembly, and the Senate, why do you do what you're doing today in a nonprofit? because there are people before me who sacrificed to make the lives of others better. And it was really clear that my mother instilled in me that people helped us when we were on public assistance, that there was a role for government to help others, families stabilize. And she instilled in me that whatever I did with my career and my education, that I always had to give back. So what do I do today? I run an organization that has lots of programs and services for immigrants, for refugees, and for working class families. And we have programs that help you in crisis, and then we have these really great programs to help you if you want to start a small business. We loan money to persons trying to start a small business, and we help them do a business plan, and our staff help them make that business successful. So it's the whole spectrum, taking people out of crisis. For immigrants, we have a wonderful program that's called Money Works. It's 13 weeks of classes, all conducted in Spanish, that takes you through how to use a bank, how to build credit, how to reduce debt, how to establish credit, how to do a personal budget so that you adhere to it, so that you can then build assets, whether it's buy a home or buy, build your credit so that if you want to borrow money, that you're in a good place. And that program also helps people who have small businesses know how to do a business plan, know how to run their business. And at the end of that 13 weeks, whether or not you have a Social Security card, if you have an ITIN, we can help you borrow small amounts of money for your small business. We have loaned several small businesses, Latinos, that can't get capital elsewhere. Banks won't loan to them if they don't have a Social Security number. We have not had any defaults on our loans. We have a person who has a wonderful business of little trains that are at the Galleria, that he makes a lot of money for children riding these trains. We have another woman who has a catering business, and we helped her buy an $8,000 refrigerator for her cakes that she makes. We have 2 people who run beauty shops. We have a cabinet maker. So that is our Money Works program and our loans for Latinos that don't have any other source of funding. We also have a loan program if you're a legal resident or a U.S. citizen or a refugee. We've loaned about $2.9 million over the years to small businesses. So if you want to borrow money and you may not have a long record of established credit or any record, if you don't have a default, we take risks in loaning money to these small businesses that banks don't do. And we've changed the lives of the people who run these businesses and the people they employ. So we have SBA loans from the federal government, we have refugee loans, and then we have this small Latino small business. So information is back there as well. If you are working for someone and they're not complying with state and federal laws that protect you in the workplace, even if you're, in fact, especially if you're undocumented, domestic workers, landscapers, housekeepers, working in a hotel or restaurant, and you're threatened by your employer to call ICE, so they're not complying with the law, we can help you. We can get you away from your trafficker. We can help you stabilize and protect you, to get you housing. We have some really horrible labor trafficking situations where people were literally locked in basements. We can help change that. We can help you get benefits to help you because the law recognizes that you're a victim of crime. And then our attorneys can help you get what is called a T visa to protect you from deportation. That's just the start of our legal services. So that's our labor trafficking. Trata laboral, I think is the term, but it's their information over there. What do we have for refugees? I don't know if they're refugee families. I know they're in your district. I don't know if they're here tonight. We have lots of specialized programs that the federal government funds to help with women adult literacy, that we work in a library situation and we match them with mentors. We have a counseling. We have a family trauma intervention counselor that does one-on-one counseling with our families, particularly families getting caught up in the Child Protective Services system. We don't want that to happen. We teach appropriate discipline. Our immigration, so we just got a new grant I'm so excited about. If you are a legal permanent resident and you want to take citizenship classes to learn how to pass the citizenship exam, we are starting that class next 2 weeks. We just got this grant. So we have a place next to our office where we're doing ESL classes. Now we're going to do just citizenship classes on top of the 3 ESL classes. You can take the classes for free, walk next door, and I have an attorney that will help you apply for citizenship through naturalization for free. None of these cost you anything. We have flyers back there. We have an English language development class. We have 3 classes a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and 1 at night. If you're on public assistance and you're obligated to take these classes by the Department of Human Assistance, this meets that eligibility for that class. So that's the overview of our programs. And why do I tell you about that? Because we know that as committed as you are to be here tonight because of your children, we also know your family situation, your economic situation often creates challenges where you don't know where your income's going to come from. You're afraid of deportation. Our Immigration Legal Services Program, we do DACA renewals. If you know someone that's in a deportation proceeding, we do deportation defense. We may not always win, but we're free to help prevent deportation. If you want to stabilize and apply for family reunification, one person in your family can apply. We provide those services, legal services, also for free. So please, our legal services program is growing. Sadly, so is the deportation defense, where people are at the brink of being deported. We provide those services free. We do T visas if you're a victim of trafficking. We do U visas if you're a victim of crime. So remember, simply because you're foreign born and undocumented doesn't mean the law shouldn't protect you. And in fact, the law does protect you. It acknowledges, in some instances, even if you're undocumented, you deserve protection and potentially a visa. So if we can't help you, you're not going to be worse off. All the attorney meetings are free. So I think take advantage of that if you need that. If you know someone, we have flyers there. So let me just close with, when I think about overcoming the odds in my family, none of my brothers graduated from high school, let alone went to college. In fact, 2 of my brothers died from heroin complications. And statistically, I should not have been one of those people. But what made the difference? I wasn't smarter than my brothers. But I had this sense of my mother telling my brothers and I, but there were different challenges for boys, Latino boys at that time and even today. But it was really clear that my mother said I could do anything I wanted to do with my life. And I know that that's what you tell your children every day. And that's what your children need to know and hear, that they're capable of anything. And that you will do everything possible, like showing up here tonight and showing the school that you have that relationship. Read to your children at an early age. They may not know how to read, but when they listen to you read that story before they go to school, you will open up worlds to them. I remember my mother reading to me, like, even before I was in kindergarten. So I didn't know what she was doing, but by kindergarten I was able to read, and I think it made a difference. I know it made a difference. Build that relationship with the teachers, the administrators. Ask your child every day, where's your homework? And don't let them say, I don't have any. Check with their teachers, because I pulled that trick quite a bit. So every day ask that question so that your child knows that they can't say they don't have homework. This is one thing that was challenging for me. We had a very small house. My brother slept in the garage, 2 sets of bunk beds, 2-bedroom, 1-bath house in Oak Park, about 700 square feet. So I had a bedroom because I was the only daughter. Find a quiet place for your children to study. That is so difficult in a small home. Make sure there's that place, the TV's not going, turn off the games, I know that's impossible, but create that space where your child understands that there's a need to get into a habit of studying and doing homework every night. They may whine, they may complain, but you are establishing a habit where they know that they have to carve out that time and that they can't do other things until they complete homework. It's not easy. They may not always get great grades, but it's that pattern of knowing what they have to do, because at each stage in their educational experience, it's going to get tougher, as it should. But we know it gets tougher in life, and for every obstacle you overcome, you have the confidence to tackle the next obstacle. So I am pretty good on my time. I just want to say congratulations to all the parents that are here tonight. The fact that you showed up, that your children are seeing you in their school setting, that you're talking to the school administrators, the school board members, their teachers, that sends a strong statement. And what I want you to do next time is to grab another parent who isn't here, or to bring their child with you, because it all starts here in these early grades, and it gets tougher as they go along, and you can't often cover ground that you missed at those early stages. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for your incredible children. And to that young Mr. Vasquez, you did a pretty darn great job, considering I would not have been able to tackle that at your age. Let your children know that you believe that they can achieve all of their dreams, and they indeed will. So thank you for having me here.